What's up guys, it's Automotive Anonymous, and that is the 2023 Subaru Outback Wilderness, generously borrowed by Twin Falls Subaru in southern Idaho. I'll link it below, check them out. They're good people to work with, and it's a little bit under MSRP. What we're gonna do today is a walk around review. We're gonna go through some specs, the ins and the outs. We're gonna do some initial driving impressions. We'll try to keep them unbiased because I own one of these, and some final thoughts after the 0 to 60. So let's get right into it, guys. This is still the 6th generation Outback. It's the 2nd year of the Wilderness trim. The 6th gen started in 2020. The Wilderness is one of 9 trim levels. I've now reviewed 8 of the 9. The only one I haven't is the base model, because those are kind of hard to find these days. Subaru sells over 100,000 Outbacks every year in the US. And these are a really good one. They get 21 city, 26 highway. They have 260 horse and 277 peak torque, which is found really down low, so they feel very punchy off the line. They weigh about 3,900 pounds. They have 9.5 inches of ground clearance and very bright LED headlights that are steering responsive. It also has a front mount camera, which for 23, the view seems to be slightly wider than the 22 year model. They can tow 3,500 pounds. The roof rails on the top are rated for 700 pounds statically, so that means standing still when it's parked, it can have a rooftop temp pretty easily. It has a 444 final drive ratio, so it puts the torque down better than the other XT Outbacks. It's about 16 feet long, 6 feet wide, and 5.5 feet tall. All-wheel drive symmetrically, of course, because it's a Subaru on the global platform. CVT transmission. Let's get right into it. Has some really good kind of mild all-terrain 225/65 R17s on these wheels. Mine have held up really well. In my 20,000 mile review, you can see I still have 30 seconds of tread, so they do great, and they're snow mountain peak rated, so they do pretty well in the winter. That can be found right there. Cladding is kept the same on the 23 model year. A lot of Wilderness owners are glad for that, because all the other models have a different front bumper as part of the refresh. You can see signal lights. But let's get out of the wind, let's get into the vehicle. Door panel, very Outback. Looks really good, nice big handle. I could fit probably 1.5 hands right here if my hands were that big. Bottle holder, snacks. Very small Subaru on the door still plate. Maybe get some white chalk, line that in, and that would look pretty cool. Subaru Wilderness on the floor mats. This one has rubber pedals, which I'm not sure why, because mine has aluminum. Fuse box right here. Hood release right there. Subaru features there. Vents, trip reset. Power options, of course, for the 10-way adjustable. Reminds you have airbags. Really good orange stitching throughout, or copper stitching. Subaru embroidery on the headrest. Let's get into it. The steering wheel's kind of changed for 23. If you haven't seen my other videos, you no longer have the little paddles here, but you got the toggle switch instead. That goes through the center. It's been idling a lot. That's the only reason why the trip odometer looks so poor. In my Outback, I get 26 to 29, but I drive a lot of highway. All right, the 11.6 inch touchscreen looks really good. It has been improved for this year with some of the HVAC, climate control, heated seat settings down there. Still have to turn off auto start stop each time. We have blind spot monitoring, heads up display, the fancy rear view mirror, but not the fanciest like the Touring XT has, that has the camera view. You do have sunglass holder. Pretty average size for like a sedan base, since the Outback is based off of the Legacy for the tilting and sliding moonroof. Wireless charging optioned here, electronic parking brake. You can go down to manual mode if you want to play around with the shifters. Turn the parking brake off. Really good, pretty deep cup holders. Got the 2-stage center console, so you can hide some stuff up here. Recipes, receipts. And then slightly deeper down there, you have just a 12-volt. But let's get behind ourselves. Let's see how we sit in the back of the Outback Wilderness. door panel looks really good, nice big handle. So even if you're wearing gloves, or even if you have a double-sized hand, you could fit that there. Slightly smaller on the bottom. Unnamed speakers. This doesn't have the Harman Kardon package because that's not offered on the Wilderness. But bottle holder, some snacks, nothing on the door sill plate other than some fun design. Maybe a little bit of traction in case you have to step here to get onto the roof. That's probably what that's for. Really good StarTech seats in the back. They follow. I've left this one reclined so you can see it's maybe like a 8-degree recline. It feels really good though as the max. You can always drop the seat that way. You have the all-weather mats back there and the safety seat child latches at 5'11". The Outback is one of the best vehicles in its class for rear occupancy comfort. Double mat pocket with the pamphlet holder, so you can be a backseat driver back here and tell them what to do. You have some vents, you have some heated seats, and some USBs, along with the 2 cup holders for if there's just one passenger back here, or if there's another, which we have Mr. Backpack. We gotta share. It's wide, it's comfortable, it feels really good. With all the creature comforts, I think Subaru's hoping that the backseat drivers don't give the actual driver too hard of a time. Otherwise, it's a really nice place to be. Let's get to the trunk. Again, 9.5 inches of ground clearance, dual exhaust, and then you can put the eye bolt hole in either of those. You see the sensors throughout. Rear view camera. Pin code, I have a video on how to set that. It's a really cool feature. I probably use it about once a week on mine, where you can access the vehicle without the keys. Power liftgate on this model. You got a mesh cubby behind the wheel well. Another mesh cubby. This is where the subwoofer would be on some of the Harman Kardon models. You have a number of clips and tie downs and bag holders. You can drop the seat pretty easily. You have about 32.7 feet of cubic room back here with the seats up, and 75.5 with them down. So it's very competitive. You can car camp back here. You can put a lot of stuff back here. This one does have the basic mats as well. Something my all-weather mats don't have is I don't think they have the Subaru Wilderness emblem. That's really cool. And then it does have the attachable cargo divider bag in the back, but we don't have that up right now. 12 volt, of course, back there in case you want to have an adapter and plug in a toaster. And then full-size spare tire with enough room back there that you could put some dirty clothes, maybe a wetsuit. I don't know, whatever you're gonna bring in your Wilderness. Eye bolt right there. Nice and easy to get to. Let's do the one touch drop. When the vehicle's unlocked, the gas fill door is unlocked. If it's locked, that follows suit. Cladding on the back. And let's check on our back passenger again, make sure they're not up to any trouble. Looking pretty comfortable back here. Safety's first, where this is a top safety pick plus, 5-star crash test rating. Does really well. What'd you get if you ride shotgun? Same door panel as the driver, minus some controls. Power seats. Same copper threading, Subaru Wilderness embroidery. Got a little cubby right here. Locking glove box. It's not too big, but back here you do have a 12 volt. Pretty cool. Let's pop the hood, let's see what's underneath. And I will say this Geyser blue, I don't know if it's my generation. For some reason it's hard for me to say Geyser and not want to say Geyser. I know that's not appropriate, but it's what it is. You can see a little bit of a fender flare. Looks really good. All right, time to pop the hood. All right, let's start with what we know. Ducting through the grill goes to the top mount intercooler to cool it off, make a little bit more power. Battery right there, negative terminal, positive terminal. Windshield washer, coolant reservoir, top mount oil filter is a fantastic design. Thank you, Subaru. Oil fill, 0W20 full synthetic is what this takes. We have the plastic cover, so your hand doesn't end up in the serpentine belt and your finger's missing somewhere in the engine bay. Further parted the ducting system to get through the air filter in here, through all the plumbing for the turbo, and then through the intercooler to cool it down into the throttle body to the top mount, or sorry, not the top mount, the top intake manifold to each half of the Boxer horizontally opposed engine. Alternators right there. It'd probably take 37 seconds to take off in this model. Not as much room as some of the other as the 2.5 offerings in the Outback, just because there's more plumbing with the turbo, but there's still a lot of room if you know what you're doing. If you ever have to do maintenance down the road that's beyond basic maintenance, like my oil change video I posted a few weeks ago, or other, you know, serpentine belt, like other basic stuff, it shouldn't be too difficult to get to. But let's drop the hood, let's get inside, go for an initial drive on the 23, and do a 0 to 60. Let's just teleport inside outside of the wind, get right on the road. Initial driving impressions of the 23 Wilderness. I thought it's really good. Turning radius is very, very tight. It's very confidence inspiring to have 9.5 inches of ground clearance, which is more than most pickup trucks. Top safety pick plus, so if you were in an accident, you're probably going to do pretty well. I at least sure hope so. But you also have a lot of safety features to keep you from being in one, such as blind spot monitoring, auto dimming mirrors, the heads-up display for adaptive cruise control, lane departure, lane centering, all that stuff. This one has reverse automatic braking. There's a lot more. Visibility, of course, is fantastic because it's an Outback. It's a wagon, what do you expect? Everything is right where you want it to be. The leather-wrapped steering wheel feels really good. It's just missing one little button right here that our Canadian friends get, which is the heated steering wheel. That can be found on the limited and touring trim that I've driven, and they're fantastic options. I hope one day we get this. Armrest feels really good on the door, and the center console. Everything's right where you need it to be with the upgraded touchscreen for this year. I really like that more of the climate controls and heated seats are easily accessible there. It doesn't pull up a sub-menu, a sub-screen. I feel like that just takes your eyes off the road. Passing power and acceleration, like going up a hill, even at altitude where we live. It's really good. The CVT, for being a CVT, you can't knock it that much. I've driven enough of these now to know that Subaru's doing a better job every year. They're getting more and more refined. And it's a pretty good unit for not being a true automatic. I don't mess around with the paddle shifters. I don't know that, you know, that you're gonna outshift the computer when it's not even real gears, it's rubber bands you're playing around with. But overall, the vehicle's awesome. The speaker system, this Wilderness doesn't have the Harman Kardon, but it still is reasonable. You could, of course, upgrade the speakers on your own if that's really important to you, but I don't think the average person's gonna notice that you're missing out on a whole lot. Very comfortable after just getting out of a 23 Crosstrek Limited. I wasn't sure about the wind and the road noise because it is pretty windy outside today, but this does a whole lot better than the Crosstrek. The Crosstrek was decent. This one's really good. As soon as I got in, I noticed there's a lot more insulation in here. The LED headlights at night, where I do half of my driving getting to or from work, are fantastic. They're the best LEDs I've ever owned. There are better ones on some other vehicles, but for the most part, these are better than the majority of vehicles these days. Does a really good job. But we're just about to our road to do a 0 to 60. We'll see what it can do. 0 to 60, traction controls off. We'll do a boosted rev. We'll see what it can do. I'll post a GPS graph right after. Feels really strong. And true 0 to 60 came in at 6.68 seconds. Without the foot of rollout, you can see the bottom left of the graph is probably 6.3-ish. So not bad given that we're at 3,500 feet of density altitude today. Air quality and location really play a big role on gas engines. Even turbo engines are affected. But let's get to our final thoughts. Final thoughts of the 23 Outback Wilderness is it's such a great vehicle. There's a reason I've kept mine for over a year now and don't have any immediate plans to change it out. Sure, some other vehicles at the same price point might have one or two attributes that are rated better, but as an overall package, if you have 3 kids or less or live an active lifestyle, there's not many better vehicles than this, especially if you live in a snowy climate. If you're going to do these modifications anyways, you might as well buy the factory warranted one. It's just so good. It offers a whole lot of stuff, and that Geyser blue, that's spec'd only to the Wilderness models. This and the Forester Wilderness. It's a really good looking color. It seems to kind of change its contrast, its reflection, depending on the lighting that you're in. Just a really good vehicle. Remember, this one's linked below from Twin Falls Subaru. They're easy people to work with. And if you guys like my video, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. There's a lot more good stuff coming, a lot more reviews, a lot more performance stuff, and things you don't want to miss. For those of you who already follow all of my wilderness stuff and the other videos, thank you so much. See you again soon. Bye.